Okay, so we've successfully keyed out the arm and now we want to do something with it. So I decided to add a arm stump. I guess that was the general idea of this shot, was that I'd lost my arm. There's different ways we could achieve this, but I've decided to just add a static graphic. And so you can see I've actually made a Photoshop document here. And if I zoom out, that's the arm stump, and I basically exported the first frame of the of the video and drew it in there in Photoshop, and then saved that Photoshop image. So it's just a single Photoshop document set up to be the same size as the video itself. Okay, so I'm going to drag that Photoshop image in there, and it's on the bottom. I'll just hide the top one. Right there it is. And what I'm going to do is pre-comp it, and you'll see what I mean. This is basically, I'm just going to nest it in a composition here on the timeline, so I can just right click on it, pre-compose, and just click OK. And you can see that it's called armstump.psd comp1, and the comp has gone there into the comps folder. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to move that arm stump into position on the first frame. So it's just inside the hole there, cut out by the key. So it'll look like that. Okay, and just zoom out, and I'll just, to be tidy, trim the clip. Rightio, we're good to go. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to use motion tracking. So the arm moves around, and I want the this arm stump graphic to move with my arm. Now I could do it manually, I could turn position, rotation, animation on, and then just go through frame by frame and position it, but there is a potentially better way to do this. And it's called motion tracking. So I'm going to select the top layer there, just hide my arm layer for a second, selecting that top layer, which is the keyed layer, and you need to bring up your tracker window, so you can find that through window, tracker, and you'll see the tracker panel appear down here. And what we want to do is track motion. So I'm going to click track motion, and I'm going to turn, I've got position is checked on here, and I'm going to check rotation as well. And down here it says motion target arm stump PSD comp 1, so it's actually already selecting the motion target because it's the layer below. If you have to select a different layer, you can click edit target and then choose a different layer, but we're on the correct layer. So basically it's going to track motion from armless movie and apply that motion to the PSD file. So position and rotation are on there. Now we have to choose what points on our video we want to track. So I'm going to select track point 1, just moving my mouse over this area. I can drag the whole thing, and I'm going to position the little X so it's just on this corner where of my shirt there, so like that. And I'm going to position track 2 up on that section, track point 2. Okay, and now we can begin to track these 2 points as the video plays, to get some data that we can apply to the PSD file. A safe way to do this is just to track one frame at a time, and so that you can see what's going on. And we do that just by clicking this button here, analyze one frame forward. So as I begin to do that, you can see it's reading the position and it's generating keyframes each time based on those 2 points. This is where tracking dots on the arm or green screen would have been really useful, because we could probably get a better track than just trying to track my shirt, because you'll see soon that I actually lose the track, but I get about half done, and there's different ways I could continue on. But if we had tracking dots on the arm, we could have solved this. So anyway, I'm going to track about here, and at this point it starts to lose the top point there, because the shirt starts to stretch out and it goes in front of these pipes here in the background, and it can't find it. So I'm going to actually just stop there. Okay, it's generated some good keyframes though, and I'm going to hit apply and just hit X and Y and hit OK, and there's all the crazy keyframes that have been created. I'm just going to collapse that there, and if I hide that, sorry, there's my arm stump, and if I drag this, you see it's moving, but the rotation's all wrong now. Okay, so we can't even see it. It's just sort of there going off the edge. So what I've got to do, that's why I pre-composed it before. Now we just got to get it into position and rotate it so that it fits, and then the tracking should look okay. So firstly I'm going to get it into position, and I'm going to do that just by offsetting the anchor point here of the comp layer. So I'll just hit A, select the comp layer for the PSD, hit A, and then just drag these. I might need to zoom in here until I kind of see it. So that's pretty good, it's kind of roughly in position. And now it needs to be rotated clockwise, but what I don't want to do is just come in here and rotate it, because we see we've got all these rotation keyframes applied from the tracker, which is rotating it as it goes. So I need to go back and rotate the actual source inside this comp, because then it will just be a global kind of change. So if I go into my comps folder and double click it, I just have to do a bit of guesswork here and click back and forth to see that it looks okay. But if I rotate it clockwise and then switch back, you can see it's coming right. And then I can just continue to adjust the offset of the anchor point to kind of get it into position. There we go. That's pretty good. Not too hard. So if I zoom out a bit now and actually scrub it, you'll see it follows. Now there's a couple of sections here where we're seeing a seam, so again I just need to adjust the anchor point so that it's always behind the shirt. And it's not too bad really for a homemade job. It needs to come down a little bit. Yeah. I could even actually just scale it slightly. Will help. Okay, that's pretty good. It's a little bit funky. There's a kind of a little thing hanging off here, but for this homemade job that we're doing, I think we're doing okay. It's not too noticeable. It's a really quick shot. The main thing is that it follows, it tracks the motion well for that point. Now if I wanted to keep going there, I can just come into my position and rotation, because you can see obviously it starts to break from that point, and I could do the next bit manually, okay, while it's there over that thing, or I could duplicate these layers, segment them as it were, so I could start a new track at this point and try and track something different to apply to it. But it probably wouldn't take long to just do it manually, but you could see how quickly I was able to use motion tracking to get that moving with my arm. And it's fairly convincing, so it's not bad for a draft effects shot. So with that in mind, you could apply these exactly the same techniques to the headless shot or the zombie torso shot. Any of these bits here, or the floating head, the invisibility cloak shot. So using your animated mask and then comping another object into the scene using motion tracking are real kind of good basic fundamental tools that you can use in effects shots. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a starting point. I hope you guys watch this and then we can build on it in our next session. Okay, thanks.